What's going on, Packers Nation? Welcome back to another video of Packers Latest. I am your host, Taylor Bretl, keeping you up to date on the latest news on the Green and Gold Green Bay Packers. A happy Thursday to all of you watching out there, and a huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you want to sign up for Underdog, you can scan that QR code right up there. When you play your first $5, you can win $75 in bonus entries. Even though football season's over, every other sport you can think of is ramping up, so it's still a great time to be on Underdog. On today's show, it's all coaches talk. Some coaches coming into Green Bay, some coaches leaving Green Bay. I want to get into the scoop of it all. So starting this off, a quarterback coach position where Sean Mannion left to be the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles left a pretty big gap and a pretty important role that the Packers needed to fill. And they found the guy to replace Mannion as the new quarterback coach, and that is Luke Getsy, who actually has a lot of ties to the Green Bay Packers and has been here for a while. The official release on this, per Tom Pelissero on X, says the Packers are naming Luke Getsy their quarterback coach, sources say. After offensive coordinator stints with Chicago and Las Vegas, Getsy returned to Green Bay last year as a senior assistant and now replaces Sean Mannion, who left for the Eagles OC job. Yeah, so again, Getsy, a lot of ties with Green Bay. He has been back with Green Bay, so this is a hire within the organization, you can call it. So I honestly like this personally. I'm going to kind of go over his coaching career. It goes further back than this, but I kind of wanted to start when the Packers got really involved in his coaching career in 2014. So in 2014, he was the offensive quality control coach, actually 2014 and 2015. Then from 2016 to 2017, he moved up to become the wide receivers coach. Then he went the college route and joined Mississippi State in 2018 as the offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach before coming back to Green Bay in 2019 as the quarterbacks coach under Aaron Rodgers. In 2020 to 2021, he remained the quarterbacks coach and was also the pass game coordinator. In 2022 and 2023, he upgraded to the offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears and then moved over, still staying as the offensive coordinator, but now with the Las Vegas Raiders in 2024. Then he found his way back to Green Bay in 2025 as a senior offensive assistant, and now 2026, this upcoming season, he will be the quarterback's coach for the Green Bay Packers. I think a big thing to note here is how he's had quarterback coaching experience in the past with the Packers from 2019 to 2021. If you know who the quarterback was, that was Aaron Rodgers, and if you know what he was doing in those years, 2020 and 2021, he was picking up 2 more MVPs. So don't get me wrong, being able to coach the names of a guy like Aaron Rodgers, that's pretty nice for your job, that's who you're alongside. But you have to give him credit. Rodgers winning MVP in 2020 and 2021. After he hadn't won it for a while, he now has 4 on his NFL career. So something to note about this as well, kind of from a Jordan Love standpoint, because we got to talk about the quarterback that's actually on the Packers. This will be Jordan Love's 3rd quarterback coach in 3 years, which is, not usually something that you want to give a still young, I would call, quarterback. I know Love's been in the league for a while now, but I'd still call him a young quarterback in comparison to the rest of the league. It's not really something that you want to give a younger quarterback, but Love, my opinion, has played very solid the past couple of seasons. This season, I thought he had a very solid year. He was battling some injuries. That playoff game, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, over 300 yards, not much more you can do. So I think that Love has, adjusted very well to the change of scenery, having now what will be his 3rd quarterback coach in 3 years. But with the guy, upgrading to a position, staying within the organization, the Packers also lose a name in their organization. This one going to the Cleveland Browns. Byron Storer leaves for the Cleveland Browns. He was the assistant special teams coordinator alongside Rich Bisaccia, and he will upgrade to a full-time role as the special teams coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. The official release on this was per Ari Miroff. It says, source, the Browns are hiring Packers assistant special teams coordinator Byron Storer as their new special teams coordinator. A big hire for head coach Todd Monken. Storer has been a key assistant for Rich Bisaccia with the Raiders and Packers and now gets to run his own unit in Cleveland. I think that's something to note as well. This guy was with Bisaccia in Las Vegas, and he got brought over in a package to Green Bay. Special teams, I don't know. We know how we feel about Packers special teams. It's not the greatest. Rich Bisaccia, should he still be with Green Bay? I know that's the question that we are all asking. My opinion, I think it's time to search somewhere else, but with it being mid-February now, still kind of early February, mid-February, it seems like Bisaccia is there to stay. But for Storer, he is on to be a special teams coordinator his own, so wish him the best of luck. Hopefully things pan out there a little better than the special teams unit that we have been seeing, unfortunately, from the Green Bay Packers. But before I get into the next point of the video, I have to give a huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Today on Underdog, I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, who are taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Bucks got a win last night against the Orlando Magic. Could they extend it to 2 in a row? Beating the Thunder will be tough, but I'm looking at the name of AJ Green, and I have him going higher than 10.5 points. They call him Derry Bird. They kind of give him that nickname to tie him to Larry Bird a little bit. He is very good at shooting the 3 ball. He had only 6 points against Orlando in the recent win, and I think he's going to pick it up a little bit, facing an opponent as tough as the Oklahoma City Thunder. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code FOOTBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FOOTBALLFAN. Underdog. Make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8 or text HOMI 467-369.
I welcome you back to Packers Latest. Now talking about kind of the closing segment of this show. We do have 2 more coaches to talk about. Actually, you can kind of call this more of a front office official in Will Redmond. I'm going to read the full release here per Matt Zenitz on X, which says the Packers are expected to hire respected college front office official Will Redmond in a personnel role, sources tell CBS Sports. Will Redmond was most recently the general manager at Auburn, and before that, he was the director of player personnel at LSU. So this is an interesting hire for the Packers. I mean, Auburn football has struggled in the recent years, so I know a lot of people want to look at this and kind of say, what are they doing? But with the role that he held on Auburn and kind of the talent that, that Auburn's still able to produce to be projected to be picked in the NFL draft, I think a personnel role fits him very well. Now, can he transition from the college scene to the NFL scene? Those are the questions we're going to be asking. But, Green Bay hiring a former college level, D1, SEC level GM, I still think it's pretty good no matter what the school was. So I did want to look at, possible Auburn draft picks in the upcoming draft because, as the GM, now you're a personnel guy, you have a lot of control around the players. And when you look at Auburn, this is per an article from 24/7 Sports, they list 6 names that could get drafted in the NFL in this upcoming draft. You got defensive end Keldrick Falk, you got offensive tackle Xavier Chaplin, you got wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr., cornerback Kayan Lee, offensive guard Jeremiah Wright, and offensive tackle Mason Murphy. So, a lot of names that could get drafted. I think he'll be a great personnel guy. And, being the GM of a D1 college program, no matter how good or bad they were, is a very high role. And there's actually a lot of stops that he had before. Got this from the same article. It says prior to his time at Auburn, Redmond spent time at LSU, Kansas, Western Michigan, and Middle Tennessee State. So he has a lot of experience in the college world. This will be a change of scenery going to the NFL, but I think that this is a solid hire overall. Feel free to leave down in the comments below if you like this hire. We got to get into the last point of the episode, though, talk about another hire for Green Bay. They hired former Vanderbilt pass rush specialist Will Smart. So this is another big hire, in my opinion. Another, going at the SEC is what the Packers seem to be doing. The full release right here per Pete Nakos on X, saying Vanderbilt pass rush specialist Will Smart is being hired by the Green Bay Packers, sources tell On3. He was also a former Wake Forest defensive lineman. So, this Packers pass rush unit looked pretty strong at the start of the season and kind of faded towards the back end of it. Getting injuries to Devontae Wyatt and Micah Parsons does not really help because they are arguably your 2 best guys on the defensive line. But getting a hire to really focus on the pass rush just specifically, I think is huge for the Packers, especially when you have a guy like Micah Parsons leading that unit. This could be a very strong unit. This could be the key to the Packers defense in 2026 if they want to make it to a Super Bowl. We talked about what I saw in the Super Bowl win for Seattle, and it was that, defensive line is very important. Getting those 7 to 8 sacks, whatever it ended up being on Drake May, it shows how important that a defensive line is. And it helps if they can stay healthy. That would help Will Smart a lot. But you look at Vanderbilt, as a team, they were eighth in the SEC in team sacks in 13 games. They had 31 sacks. So, yeah, that's a pretty good number. I know that it is just eighth in the SEC, but some of the teams above them have played 15 games. You look at the two teams directly above them in Ole Miss and Alabama. They each played 15 games. Ole Miss just had 2 more, and same goes for Alabama. So 31 sacks in 13 games for, the pass rush that he coached at Vanderbilt. Hopefully he's going to be able to take that into the NFL level and find success there with the Green Bay Packers. But that's all I got for today's episode of Packers Latest, a coaches-filled show. Feel free to leave in the comments down below if you like the hires that the Green Bay Packers did, and are you upset that Storer went to Cleveland and now that it is just Bisaccia all by himself as a special teams coordinator? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of those. But as always, I appreciate you tuning in, and go, Pack, go.